All right, here we go.
Fantastic.
What up,
Okay.
folks? How's everybody doing out there? You know, we're doing pretty good too. You know, we got somebody special today. If you don't know Ananda Xenia Shakti, folks, you should. Ananda, coming to us live from India. How are you?
I'm good, thank you. I'm very good. It's early morning here and everything is bright and fresh and starting.
Oh, nice. You gotta love that. I like that. Now, I'm gonna ask you a few quick questions. First thing that comes to mind, I want you to go ahead and answer. All right?
Okay, go for it. Yeah.
All right, here we go. Blondie,
Fun,
good. The Clash,
exciting,
Sex Pistols.
hmm,
I love it. So the reason why I wanted to ask you those is because you went from punk to transitional music. How does one do that?
Well, the truth was I had an awakening. I had an interesting life. So I have a tendency to do things kind of early and do them really fast and hard and then just be completely done with them. And I don't look back. Like, it's not an addictive personality. It's just an intense personality. And so I went through my teenage years and I did experiment with drugs and drinking and things like that, but I did it when I was quite young.
Yeah.
And then it was just boring as could be. And so by the time I even hit the punk scene in my late, like after 16 years old, kind of later teens, I actually wasn't really involved in that at all. And so I was in a scene that was, just drenched with all of that. And what I loved about it was, like, my attraction to it was the Dionysian kind of energy of, like, the breaking of the form. I was always breaking form. Even as, like, a little girl, I was, like, running away from home at, like, 3 years old. I was like changing my name over and over again and things like that. I was always trying to create something else, something else. So the punk scene was fantastic for that, and it was very exciting and really fun, really fun. But my trajectory at that point was completely different. I would go to the clubs, I'd go to CBGBs and all these places, and I was drinking Perrier. Everybody else was, like, completely wasted. I'm, like, drinking Perrier. I'm getting up early in the morning. I'm running up to the UN and back down again and doing all these things. And so in a way, I was a little bit differently positioned. And so I discovered practicing yoga, just regular yoga exercise. And that was interesting. It didn't, like, rock my world, but it was like, okay, I think there's something here that I'm interested in. And then I met my first, what you would call a guru, like a spiritual teacher or a mentor. And it was immediate, like, this is what I'm looking for. This is what I have been looking for through all of the pushing. I've been pushing boundaries. And my first teacher used to say this to me when I left, because then I left the band almost immediately. I mean, it took a matter of a few months, not very long, because I knew what I had found. And this was back up in Canada again. And my teacher would say to me, like at that point, my name was just Xenia. And he would say, Xenia, she used to play the music, she wants to be the music. And this was, like, the perfect way to describe it, because we are the music. Like, this is our true natures. We are a divine song, that the creator, however you wish to see this, it doesn't matter, how you name it, how you see it, but it breathes its breath into us. It breathes this incredible sound. Whenever you study, mystical things, there's always, these mystical sounds that lead them mystic, often to these other states of mind and these other dimensional experiences of love. So we are this sound, and he was complete. This is what I had been looking for. I was craving this, overcoming this feeling of separation. And in the punk world, we had a variation of that, because we're, like, breaking form, but we were always pushing against something. It required like, we were reflecting, okay, we're reflecting that this in society or in the way things are structured is not okay. And now we're saying a big no to it. But if you just stay at the big no, then what happens is a lot of what happened, you know, many of those people are no longer alive. And because they kind of rebel themselves to death, you know, they rebel themselves into a point of self-destruction. And there has to be a point where you can say, okay, no, I'm not satisfied with this. But the answer is inside. It's not in me just complaining all the time to the outside, that it's from the outside. So when I got that awakening, when I started to realize that there was something else, and it was benefic, and it was loving, and could fill that sense of emptiness that all that yelling was about. You know, it's really yelling about you feel like you don't feel complete. Then it was just the simplest thing for me. I really didn't look back. I really didn't have a moment of, oh, could I, you know, I should have stayed with that. It was just, no, absolutely.
Time to move
This
on.
was not. Yeah, it was time to move on. And so I had exhausted that part of my experience. I was finished with it. And then I was ready for something else. Yeah.
You got the teenage angst out of the way to bring, right? Exactly.
Yeah.
There we go.
Yeah.
Now, you went from Toronto to New York City and all the way to India. So the transitions from Toronto, New York City to India, how did that form your music today?
Wow. It formed it a lot, because when I started to get involved in, you know, to what I'll just call like the yoga community, to keep it simple, it has within it this word that you're probably familiar with, mantra, which is like a sound, like the sound of Om. It's a mantra. And mantra is considered to be a spiritual sound or a vibrationally healing sound. That mantra means that which protects the mind. It's a Sanskrit word that means that which protects the mind. So the mind is always running all of these stories, and we call this karma. And the stories can be helpful, and the stories, and a lot of times, are not helpful at all to us. It just reinforces some kind of limitation, right? And so mantra protects the mind. You give the mind to this higher frequency sound that in Om means the primordial source of creation. So it has some kind of meaning also that's of a higher frequency. And then the mind is protected. It thinks about that instead of the other things that it's been thinking about. And so I left the punk world. I made this commitment. I will do music again. I know it's my heart, my soul. I know it's my expression, but I will not do it until I can do it in a way that I feel is in alignment with where I am now. And it took me some time to find players that were in that mood as well, that could understand that and wanted to do that. And by that point, I had cultivated a lot, a number of years of practicing mantra and chanting and finding such upliftment of spirit through these higher vibrational sounds. And so when I started to then create the music for Love Power, the band, my current band, they just naturally went together. So I started mixing the English with the Sanskrit in some of the songs. Some songs are all English, some songs are all Sanskrit, and some songs are even in Hindi, and some songs are a combination of both of them. And so what my way of spirituality is really about oneness. And so it's trying to show, not that everything's the same, because I really respect the individuated things, but there's a oneness underneath it, that is the inspirational force of love, that is a benefic energy. So I like putting English and Sanskrit, or English and this or that. And sometimes in one song I'm speaking in ancient Quechua, which is the language from Peru. Another one, it's in Portuguese. It's like, and putting them together to show that there's this oneness, but yet there's this separation, there's a difference. There's this oneness, and that brings us holistic love. And so it really has formed it a great deal. New York is really, the punk scene started in Toronto for me, but New York really made it like really gritty. And my music still has a bit of a punk attitude and like in the, I
Nice.
mean in the music itself. Sometimes I listen to it and I go, okay, you can take the girl out of the punk scene, but you can't take the punk out of the girl. It's like it's kind of just there, so I'll be like,
I like
no, we're doing like that, in our new release, Cosmic Quiver.
Yeah.
We have in India, cremation is the way that people are transit off. And then there's the offering of the ashes into sacred bodies of water, specific ones. And people will travel with their ashes of their loved ones and they put it into this body of water. And then it's a very auspicious, helping them really free themselves. But it's not like in Canada, I don't know if you've seen ashes, but they grind them. So it's really like ash when we get our ashes. But here, then they're not grinding them. They have them on the big funeral pyre, which is outside. Everybody watches the body, being taken by the fire, being eaten by the fire. And then what's left over is ashes and bones and some bone. And so it gets deposited into these lakes, are the ashes and the bones. And one of the holy lakes, they get dropped on, there's stairs that go down into the water and they go under the water. And then these stairs can just be covered in pieces of people's bones, just like, and it's incredible, right? And you will go in, like I really overcame myself. Like you just walk into the water to take your holy bath and you're walking over all these people's bones. And it's just so different, so different in its approach. And I thought this song is about one of the gods, Shiva, who is the destroyer of illusion, and also the one who, the big illusion is the fear of death, that somehow we're not immortal, that it's not just like a butterfly changing its form, that it's going to be over. And so I thought, no, we're filming the bones. I'm going to go dance in the cremation ground. And so I did all this, it's like, so the bones are there. I don't know if people even know what they are, but it's like the bones are right there. And, I pray to the people that have, thank you so much to the ones who have crossed over for being part of this, because it's a release for people. It's a teaching. The same thing, I went into the cremation ground in one of the spots where, somebody had been burnt there, and the ashes were left. And then I danced around that. And it was a huge thing for me to do. It wasn't like it was just, I prayed, I went, it was like powerful energy. And bringing all of this in is fascinating. It's incredible. It's fascinating because we break the form in different ways here.
You brought up translating Sanskrit to me and bringing it to music. How much of when you're translating do you just kind of all of a sudden, oh, that's it, that's what I need to do, that's how I need to form this song, or something to that effect? How much of that comes into play?
Yeah, well, I am what I have had to find a name for what I think I do. So I call myself an intuitive, interdimensional healing artist, and an intuitive, interdimensional healing artist. And so what I do alongside of the music is that I channel and I speak to the angelic realm beings who bring in information for humanity as a collective, and also for individuals who come to me for individual sessions about what the karmic limitations are. What are the imprints that they're carrying that are limiting them and stopping them from really blossoming fully and walk their soul's path. And so it liberates them, and we start to activate more of the strands of the DNA. We have only 97 or 93, 97 strands, I think, that they know what they do, or 93. I always get that mixed up. So there's more, there's way more strands of DNA. Humanity has not even begun to see their capacity. But this is one way that we start to discover it, is by undoing the karmic patterns, like these impressions that we're carrying with ourselves. So in that capacity as a channel, I'm also given music, and most of the music that we play is given to me really in states of what I call conscious meditation. So it's not like I go unconscious and something comes through me. I become super conscious, extremely conscious, and I become aware of the fact that we are surrounded by angelic, this is my language, where people have different language, but angelic realm, guides and higher realm beings that are here to assist us through our life process. And so the music is very intuitive. It's very like, okay, no, this is what sometimes I just hear it and then, okay, I bring it through. Other times I'm in a process of, okay, I'm hearing a little bit of it and then, oh no, that's it. And so for me, when I bring the music through, it requires a lot of relaxation rather than trying. It's like especially if I feel stuck at any point, I just have to soften and soften and soften more because it's all there already. I know they've given it to me and I just have to get my own tensions out of the way and then let it come to the surface.
I like it. I like it. Now, I wanted to know, just due to the fact that when you were in the punk scene, there was some pretty phenomenal, I'm coming back to the punk scene real quick.
Yeah, it's okay.
Pretty phenomenal band. You know, you had the Runaways, obviously the Clash, obviously Blondie, Sex Pistols. Who was your inspiration back then? And how did that transition into your inspiration now?
Interesting question. Certainly the Clash were a big inspiration. We were like, I mean, we were just incredibly blessed to be invited on their London Calling tour. So, and London Calling was their, you know, just a masterpiece. And so we would do our opening show, and then we would watch their show every night. And it was one of those. It was an event, you know. It was pure magic. It was when they were, and we did the U.S. tour. We did the eastern side of the U.S. tour. We didn't have enough money to go to the west. So we actually didn't have enough money to go to the east. They had to take us in their bus because we didn't have enough money. We didn't have equipment. They lent us all of their equipment. It was just like, it was unheard of. Like no opening act ever lends their equipment, but they did. They wanted us to come so much. They wanted to support us. So
Nice.
we got that done. And so they were a huge inspiration. And then Debbie, like in Blondie, Debbie really was too. It's funny, we ended up working with both of those people, you know, bands, because Debbie was doing something completely different. But as a woman, you know, she was really breaking ground for women in rock, like in such a massive way. Completely ahead of her time, completely, yeah. So how do they influence me now? I think Debbie still influences me in there's a certain kind of femininity that she had that I think that still has an influence in some of the ways that I project forward. And the Clash, in that way that they were really about like, okay, we're breaking form, and we're having fun doing it. And that I feel is also an influence in my music.
No, I like it. I like it. I always heard the Clash's concerts. Every concert was a unique experience. Never one concert the same, regardless of what you went on.
I think that that's really true. They had that capacity at that time in their career to show up in a way that was fresh and new. You know, to really show up in a way that was fresh and new. So yeah.
Not the truth. I agree.
Yeah.
Now, where are you going to be? Are you going to be stateside anytime soon? Or are you going to be just in India? Where could people come and see you if they wanted?
Yeah, okay. Well, I will definitely be back in Canada during the summer for a few months. And I'm hoping to arrange, although it's still a hope at this point, and we'll see whether I have enough wherewithal to get it all together, because it'll take quite a bit of organizing. But what my ideal is that, so Love Power, the band, we have one CD out called Love Is Where You Are, and one single from that called I Am Love. Everything's a lot of love. and we are releasing more singles, and everything is going so well. Like, and we're so pleased with the way that the music is being received. It kind of, the reviewers are saying, more than one of them, that really has its own genre. It can't really fit into anything else, but that we do it full power. We do it really, really well, and like shamelessly, and it's just got its own thing going on. So that's great. And then we have Cosmic Quiver, which is a new single above and beyond that's just come. And Love Power, when we say that again?
The Cosmic Quiver just came out this May, was released.
Yes. Yeah, it was just released May 13th. Yeah, and it's available on all the platforms and the videos on my YouTube, which I'll maybe talk about at the end.
Hey, go ahead. Let them know now. Let's just get it out.
Okay. So yeah, so all the platforms have all of the music, and go to my YouTube channel, Ananda Xenia Shakti. So hopefully, should I spell it for them, or
We'll have it down there below.
Okay, fantastic.
But I wanted to say it because I love the way you say it.
So that's my YouTube, and that's got right now it's got 2 music videos. It's going to have more, and it's got lots of other stuff. It's got all sorts of stuff about vibrational healing and all of the channeling work that I do. And our I Am Love video is award winning. It won best music video in an international film festival from Bangalore, India. And so we're super proud of it. So go check those out, and, you know, do your subscribe, like, or share, all those kinds of things if you like. And then, so Love Power, the band, when we play live, we do something called interactive music. And interactive music means that the audience gets actually a part of the song. So not just call and response, but they get a part of the song, that there will be somebody on stage that will help them hold. And so the band and the audience become one. This is the idea. It becomes, we're all together, and the audience is just as responsible to hold down their part as we are to play our thing. We become one big song. And it's so, yeah, it's so intoxicating. It's so much fun. It's so beautiful. And that any kind of separation between audience and performer just gets completely dropped. And this is the idea, is that we just drop deeply into that experience of humanity and the oneness, and that feeling that we are here together. And these songs are all about, you know, cultivating love and exploring it and sharing it. So we're here in this cultivation, you know, together. And so the live shows are wonderful. And so how I want to bring it forward and is in more of kind of festival-like situations where at this point I'm calling them Vision New Earth, and bringing like-minded musicians together that are also offering some form of vibrational healing, and then combining it with, you know, meditation sections, visioning sections, like teaching people how to meditate, teaching people how to vision, because we are living in the way that our mind is visioning ourselves, and more so than we can even realize. And so if we understand how to vision in a way that is truly effective, then we can change the patterning, and we can vision new earth. We can change this big transformation that we're in right now. We can help it move forward in its highest, you know, in its highest way, a way that serves the best in everybody.
I love it. Ananda, excuse me. Thank you so much. I greatly appreciate you coming on. What up, Rob and Chris, today?
Thank you.
From both of us here, I'd like to thank everybody for checking us out. Get an opportunity in Canada, maybe stateside. Check her out. Yeah. And the Love Power Band as well. Can't forget them. They're very important. Have a great day, everybody, and a better tomorrow. What up?